When you're doing something, whether it's new or 1,000 times, and maybe you want to share this with your team so they understand it, but you need to train people effectively. That's number one. Make sure they're trained, and then let them practice that training with supervision in a safe practice zone. Then, and only when they're ready, send them to the performance zone. Practice makes perfect? Not true. Perfect practice makes perfect. And that means practicing in the practice zone so you can perform better in the performance zone. Hello there, everybody, and welcome to another episode of your 5-Minute Friday. I'm your host, Dr. Glenn Krieger, and today we're going to check in with that old saying, practice makes perfect. Well, practice doesn't always make perfect. You've heard the saying, perfect practice makes perfect. Well, there's some truth to this. Let's dive into this a little bit, because what I'm going to try to do here is help you avoid the single biggest mistake that practices make when it comes to helping their teams be the most effective they can be. And best of all, this spills over into your personal life as well. There's an amazing speaker named Eduardo Burseno. If you've seen me speak about him, you understand what I'm talking about. He's part of a think tank that talks a lot about neurocognitive stuff. And one of the things he talks about is the number one reason why people don't succeed in life, in practice, in relationships, in anything, is because they don't practice right. Now, you may think that means more time practicing, whatever that means to you. What it means is you need to practice in the right zone. Zone? Well, there's two zones. There's the practice zone and there's the performance zone. And it's really important that you stay in the right one at the right time. Now, Eduardo Burseno will tell you that you shouldn't practice in the performance zone and you shouldn't perform in the practice zone. And that is the number one reason why people don't achieve what they want in life, in sports, in anything. So let's think about this for a second. I teach clinical photography. Maybe you're going to come to my Orthopreneurs University course on clinical photography next year in 2025. So you come to the course and I teach you and your team everything there is to know about how to get exceptional clinical images. You come back to the practice, and what do? You turn to your team member and say, okay, it's Monday morning, let's go. Let's review what Glenn talked about, and then let's get started. And you throw your team, who's still practicing, into the performance zone. How's it going to turn out? Well, you can say, well, we'll make our way through and we'll learn from our mistakes, but is it really the most effective use of your time? Probably not. What you should do is say, okay, guys, do things the way we've always been doing them. Don't change anything. We have scheduled already at lunch today on Monday from 1 to 2, we're going to work on clinical photography and implementing what Glenn talked about. That way, at 2 o'clock, when we enter the performance zone with our first patient who's there, paid, ready to get going, we can finally take better images. Now, it's okay to get better in the performance zone. You're supposed to get better in the performance zone, right? If you're running races or doing clinical photography, the goal is to get better each time you do it. So you are going to do a little tiny drop of practice in the performance zone, but it's not practice. It's evaluating performance and making it better. Practice means we're trying to physically get better. And as he will tell you in his TED Talk, Eduardo will tell you that in the practice zone, the goal is to maximize mistakes. In the performance zone, the goal is to minimize mistakes. Think of it like a circus performer who does a high wire act. They don't do a new act, 50 feet over the concrete with no net. They do it 2 feet over a ball pit, because the goal is to make mistakes and learn how to not make them in the future. So again, when you're doing something, whether it's new or 1,000 times, and maybe you want to share this with your team so they understand it, but you need to train people effectively. That's number one. Make sure they're trained, and then let them practice that training with supervision in a safe practice zone. Then, and only when they're ready, send them to the performance zone, right? Practice makes perfect? Not true. Perfect practice makes perfect. And that means practicing in the practice zone so you can perform better in the performance zone. All right, I'm always here if you need me. I hope you go into Summit. Go to opsummit2024.com. The price will be going up, and trust me, you're going to want to be on this boat, and you won't recognize any of the names who are speaking except me, and I'm only speaking on clinical photography and case acceptance. But everybody else has been handpicked by me. So please go to opsummit2024.com and sign up now. See you there, and have a wonderful day.